family. My name is Olis, and I'm a grateful member of Alcoholics Anonymous. My sobriety date's May 21st, 1987, and I'm thrilled to be here. And hi, folks on Zoom. Hi. I'm really glad you guys are here, too. So I want to just say that having a pocket of enthusiasm, right? The lineup has been extraordinary today. It really has been extraordinary. I want to thank Chris for putting my name out. I want to thank Andrew. I want to thank Matt. I want to thank Dave. I want to thank all the people that made this happen. Because my job really, right? Let's give it up for them. My job is to talk about step 12 and to talk about how we do service when we have an awakened spirit. And the truth is, until my spirit is awakened, all the service that I do is going to be about centering me. Look at me. Look at how great I am, right? And that's actually in contradiction to what the spiritual principles are about. It's absolutely not about me. So I'm going to talk about all the steps. I'm not a person that preps, so I don't know what you're going to get. You're going to get what God gives me to give you. But I want to say that it's been a long day. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you as much as I have, and I'm going to get us out of here. So I really just want to, before I launch into my understanding of what it means to awaken your spirit and what I feel like I've done that's worked for me to awaken my spirit so that I can be a servant. And a servant, a humble servant, right? Like people know, like I wash dishes, I make plates, I wipe up stains. I do anything because anything that I do that's useful is meaningful. Alcoholics Anonymous is the only place that you can come and you work your way down, right? Like if you really understand Alcoholics Anonymous and you understand the service triangle, you understand that service outside the group, that the higher up you go, the lower you are on the triangle, right? Like it's an upside down inverted triangle because we literally, when we're on a spiritual path, I believe we're used. Like anything I'm doing, it's not me, because guess what? I want to be at home on the couch watching Netflix right now. That's the truth. People that know me, and my friends that, are more spiritually fit than me are like, don't say this. My favorite number of sponsees is 0. Oh my God. I love 0. 0's my favorite number, right? But that's not what God has for me. And so what I've learned, and we heard about it over and over and over again today, doing what I want to do burnt my life to the ground. Doing what I don't want to do is the way that I'm 35 years in the game and excited to be here. Excited to be here. So let's get it. I'm going to talk about the steps briefly as I understand them in order to contextualize 12. The 12 doesn't come out of the blue when you follow the clear-cut directions as outlined in the book. Now, you can do the 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? Anybody do the 1, 2? Do you know what the 1, 2 is, right? I come in, I'm on fire because I got 1, and then I go to 12. And then I do 1 and 12 and 1 and 12. But what am I carrying? I'm carrying my message. I'm not carrying the messages outlined in the book because I don't know what that is because I ain't done the work. So I'm going to talk about my understanding of the steps to talk about how I feel like my spirit has been hogtied and dragged into a state of awakening. So, hogtied, dragged. So, let me just go. I believe that until I understand my first step problem, I'm screwed no matter how long I'm here. I know a lot of people with a long-term sobriety, I don't want what they got. No disrespect, I don't want that. Like what I want is joy and freedom. Man, we talked about freedom. Not relief, freedom. And freedom is not free. And the first thing that I have to do is understand my first step problem, which I believe has 3 parts. The first part is I drink and I get thirsty. Put your hand up if you get thirsty. I drink and I get thirsty. Oh, I want that first drink, but I want the second drink more. By the 5th drink, I'm willing to fight you in the street. Oh my God, I'll go places I don't want to be. I'll be with people I don't want to be with. I'll do things I don't want to. I'm compelled, right? Thank you, Glenn. Glenn's like, yeah, the top of 44. when I honestly want to, I find I cannot stop. Or, not and, or when I'm drinking, I don't have no control over how much. You ever swear to God you're leaving when the price go up at happy hour? When it ends, I swear to God I'm leaving. No, I'm not. I'm for last call. I'm a last call girl, right? That didn't come out right. The second part of my first step problem is that I have a voice in my head and it sounds like me. The God of reason is going to torch my life every time. When I think I got this, I am Fred. Oh, you don't know Fred. Okay, so let me step back. The book of Alcoholics Anonymous is broken down, and it actually takes us through the steps in the book. So I would argue that the preface and the forewords, we should conclude that, but let's skip that. The doctor's opinion begins explaining my problem, and it's just so brilliant. I am restless. You know the knee that's going, the leg, you know that I'm restless. I'm irritable. Why are you breathing? I'm discontent no matter what I have on what, right? So I've got the doctor's opinion that breaks it down for me. And you know what I love about the doctors? I love many things. But it gives me this like light bulb moment where it says, you, my love, are on the hamster wheel. That you swear to God you're not going to do it. And then you can't not do it. And then you do it. And then you regret doing it. And then you white knuckle it. And you swear you're not going to do it. And then you do it. Like, I can't get off. It's not the merry-go-round. It's the hamster wheel, right? And then I've got Bill's story. And Bill's story tells me about all the steps, right? On 13, there's this beautiful prayer, right? But Bill's story really is to help me understand. You know, I don't have time for all of it. One of the things I love about Bill's story, when you really have been around for a long time, and I'll say this, I can only hear at my level of understanding. People said a lot of things to me, but I couldn't hear them. I wasn't there. So I hope that I can speak in a way. That's always my hope, to bring the book alive, to carry a message of hope. I hope to speak in a way that's plain. When I really understand Bill's story, he's in trouble when he says, I'm a proof to the world. I'm important. Only people who are insecure need to prove anything. Those of us that are standing in the sunlight of the Spirit are struggling against that need for outside validation, money and applause my way. That is the mark of I'm in trouble, right? And he's in trouble before he starts stealing money out of Lois's slender purse, right? And then he's got the nerve to be I was a gas. How you gonna be a gas, dude? You afraid you're gonna jump out of a second-story window, right? But that's who we are, right? That's me. Laying in the gutter, judging you as you walk by. Oh, those are cheap shoes. Get up out the gutter, right? That's my story, right? And so Bill's story is telling me really, in large part, we talk about it as about the body. But it really gives me, if I really understand how to read it, and I can't on my own. So get yourself a guide that can help you break Bill down, because Bill's got a lot to say. And if you think I care about the old man from Vermont, you're mistaken. No, I care about what Bill is telling me about me, because the three things that help me get to freedom are unceasing, unsparing self-evaluation and prayer and meditation. Those are the three things that really rocket me. And so we're in the body, right, until we get to page 23. And at the top of page 23, it asks me a question that I'm offended by. Well, then if you know all of that, why you drink again? Right? I'm offended. Because of my mind. And then it goes on to tell me about my mind all the way through the chapter, which is my favorite chapter. More about alcoholism. Why do I love that chapter? Oh my God, because it should be called the state of mind that precedes a relapse. The crazy in my mind. Oh my God, the carpet slipper dude. If you think I have not thought 35 years in, you could drink. Of course I've had that thought. Drunks drink. I think, well, nobody will know. Right? But then I go on to my boyfriend, Jim. Here's how I read Jim today. Jim did but a beginning. That's what the book says. But a beginning. So I want to come to Alcoholics Anonymous and do nothing and get everything. That's what I want. I want to show up at a meeting. Maybe I want to make some coffee. I want to smile at people, greet them at the door. I don't want to do the actual work. But then I'm mad, like, well, why am I not free? Why am I still, right? He lacks gratitude. That's how I've come to understand it. You're mad that you're working for the concern that you drank away, and as opposed to being grateful that they gave you that job, you mad. And that's today how I can be. You know, I love that Chad gave us like real life examples. I'm the person on the bus who did it. That's me. Absolutely. Self-righteous anger, my favorite Jimmy Jam, right? But it keeps me blocked from the sunlight. It blocks me. But where does that happen? In my mind. I'm so smart. If you think you're not the Jay Barker, I'm not going to even ask you to put your hand up. If you've had unprotected sex since 1982, you are playing in the street in traffic. That's playing in traffic, right? And there are all these ways. Here's one of my favorites, right? I've spent money I don't have, and so I work overtime to make money, to make up for the money that I didn't spend, but then I think I should reward myself for how hard I worked, and so I spend the money that I made to make up for the money that I spent that I didn't have. Yes! It's in my mind. The crazy is in my mind. And I can rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic. I swear to God, I can be like, oh, if I just mop the water up. Let me flip the cushion over. It's wet on this side. That's what I'll do. But I have to learn how to see the truth about myself. And that's what this spiritual journey is about. My spirit can't be awakened. I can't do service from a place of serving God when I think I'm God. It's not possible. But then we get to my boyfriend, Fred. Oh, I love Fred. Here's what Fred said. They came to see me, and I'm reading into Fred, right? He's like in their crumpled, cheap suits, right? Thanks for the information. Scurry on, right? Because I think I've had some level of success, and then I'm in a position, drunk or sober, to turn down help. I need all the help I can get, drunk or sober. That's the truth. And sometimes people, I have a friend from the class of 16. I'm class of 87. Class of 16, and she told me, I called her and told her something. She was like, I think you owe an amends. I was like, about to hang up on you, right? But no matter where the message comes from, I need the message. And my job is to surround myself with people that will tell me the truth. And so I've got this other part of the book that talks about the second part of the first step. My mind. Don't sleep on it. It will sneak up and get me every time. I got to vigilant. And it tells me that throughout the steps. 10 says watch. Watch. What? I bear watching. Watch. Watch. The same things that I had to inventory in 4 are going to come back up. That's why in 10 it tells me to watch for those things, right? Then at night I might have missed it. Yep, go and set it. I might miss it. So in 10, in 11, can I catch it? But then 1 and 2 for me, I can only speak for me, are not the deal. For me, the deal is the third part of my first step. My spiritual malady. My spirit. I believe that I had the spirit. I believe lots of people, not just alcoholics, have spiritual maladies. I just treated mine with alcohol, right? And I drank until, and the book tells me this, I could probably have quit while there was still yet time, but I didn't want to. Who wants to quit in the middle of the party? I'm having a good time. I drink myself into a state of chemical shift where I'm, right? Why? So here's how I understand it. And the reason I'm taking time with one is because I think that treating the third part of my first step problem is what all the other steps are designed to treat, especially 12. Especially 12. So this third part of my first step, right, this spiritual malady, the separation from the power. You know what it tells me? It tells me in the book, it starts telling me right away, I don't want to see it, like I want to pretend, no, right? It tells me, I'm going to get the numbers wrong, sorry. I think it tells me on 17 or 18, I think 18, it says that what I have done is annihilated, how strong a word is that? Annihilated all things worthwhile in life, right? It tells me later, Ma, Ain't it grand? The wind stopped blowing, right? Like, I'm just happy I'm not drinking anymore. And I'm like, come on, let's go. No, I've got to clean up the mess that I've created. I have to clean up the mess that I've created, because that mess that I've created is blocking me. But the way that I experience the world, my wrong thinking and my wrong understanding, will continue to create a mess that continues to block me from the sunlight of the Spirit. So that spiritual malady, I think of it as, right, and if this makes sense to you, at night, in the dark, me and God, and I think, I'm not good enough. I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, I was 26 and I was too skinny. I'm 62 and I'm too fat. Just stick around, right? Like, my thinking is so twisted that it's like a moving target. But because it's not the thing that's wrong, it's that I think I'm not good enough. But God is either everything or God is nothing. I'm either made by the Creator, and I am perfect, perfectly imperfect, or I think I'm God. And I have found that what makes me think, let me figure it out, let me manage it, is my spiritual malady. It is the place where fear and man, Sammy, self-righteous anger, oh my God, right? Rage, oh my God. Like, it feels so good in the moment, right? And then I've got to live with that. And so this third part of my first step is really, really the part that I think the other 12 steps are designed to treat. That I have to understand that even though I wasn't conscious of it, I have been playing God. Here's just a quick one, and then I'm going to move on. You ever at home, you're doing the dishes and you're having an argument back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You're winning too, back and forth, back. But there's nobody there but you. Because I know what you're going to say. I know what you're thinking. No, I don't. But this need to like, in my own fear, like, I need to believe that I know, as opposed to accepting the truth, which is, God's got me. I don't need to know. God's got me. And so these other steps, right? These other steps, when I see them and I work them, not on a check, I'm checking off the box, but man, I'm digging down, because at some point, if you're new or you've been here a long time, it seems to me that the choice is get relief or get freedom. And let me just say, relief don't last. Relief hasn't lasted for me. That when I do the things that give me relief, like talk to you crazy, I feel good for a minute. And let me say that I'm actually at mastery on that skill. Oh my God, I'm a slice and dice, and I might feel good for a moment. But like, I've won the battle and I've lost the war, because there's no way for me to be standing in the sunlight of the Spirit injuring another soul. It's not possible. That's not how it works in my understanding. And so then I go on this journey that really I should do over and over. It's a never-ending thing. You know, I love the question, right? Apparently Mark's going around asking people, right? How free do you want to be? I have a friend in LA, and she's like a spiritual buddy. And we're talking about, I did all the things that I thought were right. I don't have time for the example, but I did all the things that I thought were right. And I was wrong. But you know how you think that you get the message, and then you do the thing that you think is the thing that you're supposed to do, and then it turns out that it's not the thing I was mad. And we started talking about how in long-term sobriety you can become rigid because you think you know. And so, you know what I am? Another bozo on the bus. That's what I am. And I try to stay in a position of, well, that was my best shot, and maybe that wasn't right. So then what now? What's the lesson now? Let me get to 12, because I have so much to say about 12. You know, When I came to Alcoholics Anonymous, I had a power greater than me that I believed in. I believed in scotch. In particular, Johnny Walker, right? But doers would do, white label would do, right? But I had a power greater than me that I believed in. So when I got here and there was the little, slogan on the wall, come to believe, I actually don't think that that's the point of the second step for me today. The point of the second step for me today is that can solve my problems. Because while that was a power greater than me, it never solved my problems. It made me forget about them for a moment, but it didn't solve them. So for me now, the point of 2 is finding a power that can restore me to sanity. And you know who needs to be restored to sanity? Insane people. Right? Now, the book doesn't tell me I'm crazy, like directly, kind of, the doctor's, kind of Bill's, he's like, hey, he says some stuff, right? That makes me think, maybe he's saying I'm not right. Full flight from reality, he says some stuff. But the point for me now is to find a power that I can believe in that will help me come back to the center, back onto the beam, back into a place where I can experience connection. Because all I've ever wanted was to be loved. That's all I've ever wanted. And I can't get that battled up. I can't get that in the fight. And so then I get to 3, and I love 3 because 3 begins to tell me what the problem is. And in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and 2, by the way, is we agnostics, right? But in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, we always put 4 and 5 together when we talk, but in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, 3 and 4 together. And I believe that 3 and 4 is together because I'm not going to do 3 to 4 until I understand 3. And what does 3 tell me? I'm the problem. I'm selfish. I'm self-centered. I'm self-seeking. I'm self-loathing. And my Jimmy Jam, let's say it together, I'm self-righteous, right? And until I can really see that, I'm not willing to do the work of inventory. And it's when I can see that I'm burning my life to the ground. I'm in collision with other people because I've stepped on the toes, even when I'm trying to be a good person. Oh, I was just trying to be helpful. No, sweetie, you're controlling, right? Right? It's like dressed up as helpfulness, right? Then I can really do the inventory. And the reason that I tell somebody, right, and the book tells me in a couple places, like if you don't do this, you're going to get drunk. And it tells me that about 5, right? And it tells me that because the thing is, I can't see myself. No matter how hard I look, I need inventory and friends and sponsorship to see myself. I can't see myself. 35 years in, I can't see myself. The only difference is I now know that. I accept that. I have people around me to help me. And so what I'm looking for is the pattern of pain that I have created in my own life. This is the time to tell you this. You ready? Victims don't recover. That's been my experience. As long as it's somebody else's problem, you are in trouble. See, I can't do anything about you. But me, I have a shot. I can go to God about me. What am I going to do about you? Here's the question. I'm going to put out a couple of considerations as I go through this. The next time you're disturbed, I want you to ask yourself this. Not why you're disturbed. Why you're disturbed is about the other person. That's about what happened. Here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Why am I disturbable? Ooh, that's right. If you're having a hard time answering that question, I would direct you to the resentment inventory, to the 3rd column, to the 7 questions. Because the 7 questions, and then bracketed alongside the fear, is going to help you see yourself. What is the role that I've assigned myself? I'm a good person. What's the role I've assigned you? Other people shouldn't, right? What's my ambition? What's my security? My personal relationships. Here's what people think. Oh, I don't have a pocketbook. Let me help you on the pocketbook. 3 things on the pocketbook. Did I lose something that I otherwise would have had? Did I not get something otherwise I would have gotten? Oh, I didn't get to work. Oh, I didn't get that contract. Oh, I didn't get right. Or, ready? Did I spend money that I otherwise wouldn't have spent? Oh, I'm good on that one. Because you know what? A new outfit, a new hairdo, man, I was about to save up some money to get a Brazilian butt lift. I was like, yeah, right. What? Because crazy doesn't go away, right? It doesn't. And so what I need to be looking at not is what you did, right? It's not what you did. It's what people are like, what? Yes, the women are explaining to the guys, right? Not what you did, but why is what it is that you did disturbable? He's like, later on. So Brazilian butt lift is where the women go and they have all the fat sucked out of the other parts of their body and they have it put in their butt. That's what a Brazilian butt lift is. Okay. Glad we cleared that up. So the question isn't why I'm disturbed. The question is why I'm disturbable, right? Like, why is it what you did to me takes me off the beam? Like, you've done something that I'm not clear about maybe in the moment that is disturbing some part of me. And you know what it is? It's an invitation for me to take a deeper look. It's like a breadcrumb that leads me deeper and deeper into freedom. Every time I'm disturbed, it's a gift. Because if I use that gift, I can figure out how to grow spiritually. And so on my own, I can't really do that. I need 4 and 5. I need 4 and 5. I don't need to say, Chad's talk on 6 and 7 was one of the best 6 and 7 talks I've heard. Like, I don't need to say anything else about 6 and 7. That was really extraordinary. And I love that it's 3 with teeth. Right? I love that, right? Because what am I saying in 3? And by the way, in 3, I'm opening a deal with God that I close in 7, right? That's why there's no amen at the end of 3, right? And I'm like, just the bondage of self. Just the bondage of self. Not because I deserve to have you remove my difficulties, but that I promise you that if you do, I will bear witness. I will shine the light, the grace that you've covered me in. And then in 6, I got to do the work. I have to admit what's objectionable. I have to surrender and surrender. Oh my God. Here's what a guy said at my home group. Oh, my home group is the Bronx Big Book Study. We meet every night at 9 o'clock for an intensive line-by-line study of the Book of Alcoholics Anonymous online. I'm happy to give you all the information if you'd like it. But a guy came to my home group and he said, if I could really surrender in the 3rd step, it'd be a 3-step program. Bingo. I can't, but I'm open. I'm getting into this relationship with the power. And then I prove that I meant it, because then I do practical and spiritual work in 8. I make a list, and then I become willing to all the people. And in 9, I prove that I believe God loves me. Because if I have God, I'm not scared of you. You know, the book gives us these things, right? Like, oh, maybe you got a criminal problem. Maybe you got financial problem. I got all of it. You got family problems, right? You know, it talks about jealousy and, right? Because Bill, right? You have all of these examples, right? And I can go out to people and face them and say, not I'm sorry, because nobody at this point, I took my first drink at 4 years old. It was a can of Schaefer beer. I learned in the pandemic, because if you keep looking, life is lived forward and understood backwards. If you keep looking, right? So during the pandemic, I'm at home, and I'm like, my first memory of a drink is my first memory of being alone with my mother, right? And there was every reason for that to be a traumatic experience that would make me thirsty. And she was drinking a can of beer, and I asked if I could have some. She thought it was cute. Then I thought it was cute because I wanted to be cute, because if I'm cute, maybe you'll love me, hence the Brazilian butt lift, right? And so I ask if I can have some, and she says yes, and the doorbell rings, and she leaves me alone with the beer, and I did what any one of us would do. I finished it. At 8, I decided scotch was a good idea. I don't know what the other 3rd graders were doing, but scotch seems like a really good idea to me. And at 13, I had my first major drunk and a blackout in a bar. That's my 26. I came in, I was like, white flag. Yeah. But I struggled because in my family, the only people that were alcoholics were seizure alcoholics. And I wasn't having seizures. And I still had my teeth, right? That was the standard that I got here with. Still have my teeth, right? And so I had to spend a lot of time with you guys to really understand that alcoholism wasn't what I thought it was. It didn't mean that I had a brown paper bag around a bottle. It didn't mean that I was having seizures, and that my bottom was where I stopped digging. So if you're here and you're new, just stop digging. Just stop digging. Your bottom is wherever you stop digging. Just join us. But 10, 11, and 12 are the steps I really appreciate the most in my life today. I use all of them, but let me just say, because I want to get to 12 and talk more about service. I really have come to understand that 10 is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I really have come to understand that, right? The 5 parts of 10 that it gives me in the book. Like, I really appreciate the watch. When? All the time. Not like, on the weekend, in your free time, when you go on vacation, every day. Watch. And then turn to God. And then tell on myself. And then make amends. And that would set me right back to where I was before I did the thing. But that's not where we're not in a maintenance program. We're in a growth program. So what do? I resolutely turn my attention to somebody I can help because I'm trying to grow. And then 11, I really appreciate Glenn's 10, 11 talk, right? That it's this thing where at night I do an inventory, and in the morning I say, God, help me do better than what? Better than I did yesterday. How do I know how I did yesterday? I answered the 10 questions. Get the app. Come on, get the app. Just answer the questions, right? And here's the thing. You can't, the people that I work with, I start them on 11 immediately, right? You cannot send me yes and no. Don't send me yes and no. I ask people to write their nightly inventory like they're documenting who they are in the event of amnesia, so they could go back and read who they are. Tell the truth about who you are. And it's really between you and God. I may or may not read that. But when I do those things and I can see myself more fully, right? Why? Because I admitted in one that I've annihilated all things worthwhile. I admitted in one that elimination of drinking was but a beginning. I admitted a whole series of things. In 3, I admitted that it's the bondage of self. And at 4, I take this inventory of myself that if I'm lucky, is fearless and thorough. And in 5, somebody helps me see the truth about myself. It is not a pretty picture, right? And in 6, I have to go to God. You know what objectionable means? It didn't work for me. It's not objectionable to me if it doesn't work for you. That's your problem. It's objectionable if it doesn't work for me. Then I go to God and be like, that's not working, right? So when I can see myself, then I can come into service in a different way. Now, for a long time, I thought that the longest text in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous was the first step, right? Because it goes on forever, right? But it turns out that's not true. The longest text in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous is the 12th step. Now, we sometimes, new to the game, think that the chapter working with others is the 12th step. No, my friends. Not as I understand it. That tells me how to work with other people, because the thing that I've been given is this gift. And the first charge is to go out and share that gift. Shine the light. Shine the light. But that's not it, my friends. What do I have to do? My primary relationship to wives, right? To wives, to husbands, to spouses, to girlfriends, right? I have to learn how to be in that primary relationship. Oh, you think that's it? Oh, no. Let's do the family afterwards. Do you know that To Wives and the Family Afterwards has this extraordinary set of spiritual principles? This extraordinary set of how do I live out in the world, right? Then it's to employers. How do I show up at my job? I want to slash your tires. I can't stand the person sitting next to me. I'm going to eat their lunch. Right? But I'm a example of Alcoholics Anonymous, right? It gives me all of these chapters that are devoted to helping me understand how to practice the principles in all of my affairs. So step 12. I believe that there are 3 parts to step 12. Some people will tell you there are 2. You invited me to talk. So I believe that there are 3 parts to the 12th step. The first part of the 12th step can be thought of as a prerequisite. Having had Now, if you've had a spiritual awakening as a result of the ashram, God love you, right? I don't, maybe you have a banging chant, whatever. But what I need you to have for this game is a spiritual awakening as a result of the steps as outlined in the book. That's what I need. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. So that's the first part. Now, another way to see it, I think of it as a prerequisite, but I already told you who I am. The other way to see it is a promise that if you do the steps, you will have a spiritual awakening, right? The other two parts, carry the message. Which message? My message? No, the message in the book. I'm going to talk about the book. I'm going to talk about the book. I'm going to talk about the book. You know, it's really interesting. In the pandemics, I've gotten invited to speak because God's sense of humor. So a lot of places, right? And I should admit that the reason that I took 12 as a top, like I got called and I was like, hey, what do you want? I took 12 because I'm like, everybody will be gone by then. It's my strategy. But you know, this carrying the message is about the steps, right? It's about the book. Now, I've gone to meetings, and if this is true for you, put your hand up. I've gone to meetings and spoken, and then the people afterwards are like, I hate the happy people. Okay, girl, hate me, right? That not all the meetings that we go to are meetings that are solution-based, right? I call them the cat lady meetings, right? You go and the people are talking about my cat, right? And I sound real judgmental. Here's the thing. No matter where I'm at, my job is to shine the light. No matter where I am, my job is to shine the light. No matter where I am, my job is to shine the light. You can appreciate the light, not appreciate the light, invite me back, don't invite me back. My job is to shine the light. And I'm not doing it for you because where do I want to be right now? Watching Netflix. That's right. That's where I want to be, right? I'm doing it because when I tell the truth, the hand of God is in my life. The hand of God is in my life. My mother ran a house of ill repute. Talk among yourselves like about the Brazilian butt lift about what that means, right? And so I grew up rough. I grew up in what people call the life. Like I grew up rough, right? And there are a lot of things that come out of that. And one of the things that comes out of that is my unwillingness to judge people based on sort of some societal norm, or right? That every soul counts. And when I encounter people, like, can I greet them as another soul, right? Because if I can't do that, it doesn't matter what I have. Nobody wants it. So can I greet people as another soul? Because that, to me, is what I have to do in order to carry the message. You ever see the people out on the street and they're on the soapbox and they're talking about the end of times is coming, and right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Nobody wants to hear from them because like it doesn't feel, right? And my job is to, which is a real job for me, is to make myself as soft as I can be so that people feel like they can call me. When people call me and say, like, I relapsed, man, it touches my soul because that means I've done something to make them feel like they can trust me. That my only job is to be useful, to be friendly. That's my only job. To create a space where people feel like they can access what you have given me. All right, last part is to practice the principles in all my affairs. Well, okay, before I go there. When I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, what I thought was going through the work, like if I could go through the steps, like I've arrived, right? That was the big gym, like I'm gonna go out and tell people, oh yeah, when I did my 4th step. And then I was here for a while and I realized that the real work is taking people through the work, not going through the work. Do you know why? For me, because the best way to learn something is to teach it. People call me and they tell me about a disaster that's befallen them. And I lie. And I'm like, it's going to be okay. How do I know? Right? But then it's okay. And then you say it's going to be okay, and then it's okay. And then you say it's going to be okay, and then it's okay. And then when a disaster befalls me, you know what I think? It's going to be okay. And I don't get that because I'm not smart enough to remember all the times that God has shown up in my life. I'm not smart enough to remember that. Every time for me, it's like, oh my God, a disaster. But I can remember it because it was okay for you. And I was in a relationship with you. And I was able to tell you that, and then it was true. So while there are many forms of service, I think that sponsorship, which is my least favorite form of service, is the highest form of service. The ability to walk somebody through the steps and to watch the light come on, to watch them make different decisions. Now, somebody that I work with this week told me that, yes, my form of the truth was like riding a bull. I'm not sure what to say about that. Because I think it's rude not to tell you the truth. And if you call me and tell me about how you're mad about all the things that somebody did to you and you're judging them, I'm going to tell you the truth. So that's on her side of the street. That is none of your business. You might want to zip that up. You want to be connected to people and nobody wants to be connected to somebody who's judging them, right? I think that's my job. If that is not what you want, like somebody said it earlier. Who said it? They said, maybe it was Chris. They said that the sensitive newcomer feelings, do not take my number. Don't take my number. Because I don't really have that. All I have is the truth for you. And I have the truth because I'm trying to save your life. Because my experience is that I can save your feelings or I can save your life. And I've demonstrated over the years a disregard for your feelings. But a real care for your life. For your life. So, okay, let's do this last thing. When I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, I thought that practicing the principles in all of my affairs meant that no matter what happened and no matter where I was supposed to be nice. I'm going to just be nice. I'm going to smile. I'm going to I'm going to just smile, right? I'm going to get an ulcer. I'm going to smile, right? And it turns out that that's not what it means. Here's what I believe it means now. That when I'm in a situation and I become disturbable, I reach into the simple kit of spiritual tools that you laid at my feet, and I reach around in the bag. Do I need a hammer? Do I need a wrench? Maybe I need a screwdriver. How about a hacksaw? What do I need, right? And I find the tool that fits the situation. Again, I find that third column in the resentment inventory really, really works for me. Here's another one that really works. The program of Alcoholics Anonymous is not the meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous. The program of Alcoholics Anonymous can really be understood, unlike the Nike swoosh. The logo of Alcoholics Anonymous really gives us the whole deal. It is the circle. What is the circle? The circle is my life. It's the universe. It's money. It's sex. You know what I want to do? I want to turn drinking over to God, but I'd like to keep my sex life and I'd like to keep my financial, right? No. It's the universe, and I turn everything. I'm in this perpetual state of trying to surrender my whole life to God. And in it, there are these three sides of a triangle. They're all evenly sided, equilateral, strongest structure known to man, unity. That's the fellowship. And if you're only in meetings and you think that's the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, you're missing 2/3 of the game. What's the other side? And that's for my body. I take my body to the fellowship. What's the other side? Well, it's service. And I do that with my spirit. I do that with my soul, which is why I have to do the work. Because if my soul is not awakened, my spirit's not awakened, my service is going to be look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. Nobody wants to look at me. I have to clean, I have to move as best I can, self-seeking out of the way. And how do I do that? I work the bottom of the triangle. And what is that recovery? I do that with my mind. Sadly, over and 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 it's over. Or I could stop and be miserable. That's my choice, right? Freedom's not free. And so when I get to this last part about practicing the principles in all of my affairs, I want to just relieve you if you have this delusion that it means you go every place and you act nice. I now understand that it means that I use the tools when things come up. So if you want to date and you don't have a sex ideal, what is you doing? What you doing, right? The questions, right, they were referenced today, the questions, right? What should I have done different? It can never be, I shouldn't have gotten into a relationship with somebody. It's not even sex conduct, it's sex misconduct, right? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like weaponizing it, right? So I'm not alone. Y'all are here. So I have to ask myself when it hasn't gone well, like, what should I have done instead? I should have been honest. I should have waited. I should have put values on things that matter more. I should have, right? And that when I can do that, and then the answer to all those questions, what I should have not done, right? What I should have done instead, that's my ideal. And that's the place from which I get into a relationship. So when I'm practicing the principles in all of my affairs, in my dating life, that's what I need to be using, right? When I collide with other souls, I need to look at why. Oh my God, it's a fear every time. I'm so sick of it. It's a fear every time. I'm afraid of something. And if I only focus on what you did, I'm never going to understand why I reacted to what you did that way. I'm out of time. Let me say this. If you come up to me and you tell me that I'm stupid, I think that that's ridiculous because I know that's not true. Now, if you come up to me and you tell me I'm fat, I'm going to feel a way about that, right? I'm going to go home. I'm going to feel a way. I'm going to start calorie counting, right? Because I have a fear. And I'm using that example because it turns out that if you say something to me for which I have no underlying fear, the chances that I'm going to be disturbed by that are quite small. And so when I'm disturbed, I promise you it's a gift. And that, practicing the principles in all of my affairs, is how I know when to pick up the toolkit. When do I pick up the toolkit? When I'm afraid, when I'm disturbed, when I'm annoyed, when I want to punch you in the face, when I'm judging you, when I'm self-justifying. That's when. That's what practicing it means to me. Because when I do that, I'm not white-knuckling being nice. I genuinely can be kind to you. So thank you guys so much for having me. I hope that was helpful.